Good morning, I'm China Barachina and you're watching Business 360, where we break down the numbers, connect the dots, and give you the developments and insights you need to navigate, adapt, and lead. Let's dive right in. The Philippine economy is beginning to lose altitude. Deutsche Bank now expects growth to fall short of official targets through 2026, pointing to a widening graft investigation into flood control projects that has slowed government spending and unsettled investor confidence. Yet the country's business leaders are counseling steadiness. Former central bank governor and SM Investment Corporation chairman Amanda Tentangco says that in times of uncertainty, the nation's institutions and fundamentals matter far more than the political noise surrounding them. Even so, several pillars of economy continues to show resilience. The electronics sector, the country's largest exporter, is bracing for a 5% rebound next year, lifted by global demand for artificial intelligence components, electric vehicles, systems, and infrastructure that powers the world's data centers. The digital economy remains another bright spot. A new study from Google, Temasek, and Bain estimates that the Philippines will reach 36 billion in gross merchandise value this year, driven by rapid adoption of e-commerce, logistics, e-services, digital finance, and AI-enabled platforms. And telecommunications firms are expected to close the year with modest gains. Seasonal demand and steady data usage continue to provide support, though analysts expect sharply different performances across industry players. The economy is set to underperform as widening corruption probe weighs on public spending and investor confidence. Deutsche Bank now expects growth of 5.1% next year, well below the government's 6 to 7% target and just 4.7% in 2025. Officials are redirecting infrastructure funds to health and education, while central bank may cut interest rates further to 4.25%. Weak investor sentiment has pushed foreign inflows down, the peso lower, the Philippine Stock Exchange Index just under 6,000 points. Analysts caution that governance concerns will likely keep growth and investment subdued in the coming quarters. Business leader says investor confidence can rebound even amid a multi-billion-peso corruption scandal. Speaking at a major business forum, SM Investments chairman Amanda Tentangco emphasized clear policies and credible institutions as a foundation for trust. Private executive says steady investment and household spending can sustain growth. Asian Development Bank Director Andrew Jeffries highlighted resilient fundamentals, while economists warned that transparency and disciplined governance are essential. Business leaders agree the economic trajectory can remain strong if clarity and credibility are restored. The semiconductor and electronics sector is set for a modest rebound next year, with exports projected to rise 5%, according to industry experts. Sector leader says the growth is driven by demand for advanced technologies, including artificial intelligence, electric vehicles, and the Internet of Things and data centers. Electronic exports reached $36.32 billion in first 9 months, contributing about 58% of country's total commodity exports. Full-year shipments are expected to reach between $45 billion and $47 billion. Top export destination remains Hong Kong, the United States, China, Japan, and Taiwan, with Hong Kong serving as a hub for global distribution. Industry leaders warns that U.S. policy changes could affect the outlook. They also say that Philippines' ASEAN chairmanship in 2026 is a key opportunity to highlight the sector and attract foreign investment. The digital economy is on track for double-digit growth, projected to reach $36 billion in gross merchandise value this year. Google Philippines country manager Prep Palacio says growth is driven by strong consumer and business confidence in digital platforms. A Google Temasek Bain report projects the digital economy could climb to $70 billion to $140 billion by 2030. E-commerce alone is expected to hit $24 billion this year, up 20% from 2024. The Department of Information and Communication Technology aims to raise sector's share of GDP to 12.5% by 2028, focusing on digital infrastructure, data centers, and attracting hyperscaler operators. Telco companies are expected to see modest growth by year-end despite of 9-month slowdown. Third quarter results were mixed. Dito posted a net loss of 6.29 billion pesos. Globe's net income fell 12.8% and PLDT declined 20.3%. Converge saw a slight 1% increase. Mobile data and broadband usage are expected to rise in the fourth quarter, supported by seasonal demand. Analyst says Converge could post stronger growth, while Globe and PLDT may remain under pressure from softer average revenue per user and increased competition from Dito. Digital threats are rising, with Filipinos losing over 280 billion pesos to online scams in the past year. According to the Global Anti-Scam Alliance, a survey of 1,000 adults found 77% face scam attempts, averaging 239 per person annually, and 65% were fully successful scammed. About 31% reported monetary losses, averaging 11,896 pesos each, with 11% recovering any funds. 40% said no action was taken and 19% were unsure of outcomes. Digital wallets accounted for 74% of stolen funds. The most common scams involve investments, unexpected money schemes, and online shopping, often through social media, text, and messaging apps. As global markets whipsaw and competition across Asia intensifies, the Philippines finds itself a defining moment where business confidence, investment momentum, and policy clarity could make or break our next chapter of growth. With trade partners reassessing their foreign strategies, foreign investors tracking every signal from Manila, and local industries pushing harder than ever for true ease of doing business reforms. The country's business climate is not just evolving, it's being tested. For the private sector, the stakes couldn't be higher. The decision made in the coming months will shape capital flows, market stability, and the trajectory of the Philippine economy. Well into next year, joining us now via Zoom is Mr. Chris Nelson, Executive Vice Chairman of the British Chamber of Commerce Philippines, to cut through the noise and help us understand where country's business landscape is heading and what investors around the world are paying close attention to. Hi, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, and a warm welcome to all your viewers.
Good morning. I know that it's in wee hours and you have catered us. Thank you so much for that. And to start off from your vantage point, Chris, how would you describe the Philippine business climate today, and what leading indicators are you watching most closely as we approach 2026?
Sure. Look, I mean, of course, as you've correctly outlined in the start of your program, the flood control issues is clearly there and obviously on people's minds, and we're looking for sort of clear direction, and the government is giving that. I would just sort of make the comment there that we've worked closely with Secretary Recto when he was Secretary of Finance, and now, of course, he's been made the Executive Secretary, and we congratulate him and wish him all the best. We've also met with Secretary Go when he was at the Philippine briefing back in October 2024. And as endorsed by other business leaders, we see this as positive moves. Mm-hmm. What we see as a landscape, though, of course, is how we can further develop investment for trade investment between the UK and the Philippines. In that context, we have, I think, encouraging moments. We've just had a recent trade mission specifically on meat exports. One of the things that we would look out for is also what's happening on legislation. Mm-hmm. We have been very proactive in getting key legislations passed, such as the E-Commerce Act, one of which, and I think I'd link it to your other report, which is about cybersecurity and scams.
Yes.
We're very active promoting the passage of the Cybersecurity Act. And of course, our concern is that Congress, the Senate, because of its focus, is not going to focus also on passing key legislation. And we'd urge the government to pass those legislation and send signals to investors, as mentioned by obviously your report from the former BSP Governor Tatanko, that we've got to look at calm moments. We've also got to move forward and particularly create those issues. So overall, we're working very hard, but we want to see legislation passed and we want to see those move forward.
That's so good to hear, Chris. And how would investors prioritize stability and predictability? Right now, what gives the Philippines a genuine competitive edge compared to its ASEAN peers?
Well, look, we have to keep on arguing for those edges. We've been working very hard on this. I would say that the Philippines' competitive edge is, of course, number one. It's in its own right a very important market. You're close to 120 million people. The Philippines is a good place to set up and enter into Southeast Asia. And we have been advocating British companies to come here and do that. And also then obviously they can look at a wider area. In that context, I'd also say it's very important the Philippines joins key trading areas. They've joined RCEP. We work closely with the Department of Trade and Investment, obviously Secretary Roque, Undersecretary Alan Gepti. And in that context, we're very pleased that the Philippines has applied in August of this year to join CPTPP, the Comprehensive Trans-Pacific Partnership, which the UK is a member of. So I think that's very important. The other thing I'd like to highlight is, of course, the chairmanship that Philippines will host next year of ASEAN. I think that's a very important moment, and we'd like to support that. I know that you're going to have, obviously, I've just been in touch with Concepcion. I know the key players, George Barcelone, Michael Tan, they're going to be involved in this. And I think we're going to support that as well as the British Chamber. So again, that's a very important moment and something that can set the Philippines out with its chairmanship of ASEAN. And we support that, and we'll see how we can work closely for it.
That's very exciting to hear, Chris. In terms of ease of doing business, it's always been a headline promise. Can you cite one area where you've seen real progress and one persistent bottleneck British companies still face on the ground?
Sure. I think that, first of all, we've been an ARTA champion. We work closely with Attorney Perez, who runs, obviously, ARTA. We've seen progress made. As we said, we talked about the E-Commerce Act. We'd like to see the implementing rules and regulations. I would highlight some points made by Senator Gatchalian, where he's saying that one of the key needs is to actually digitalize the local government units. So I think we've had success bringing companies in. I think what happens as well is, as you're aware, there's a different series of regulations. You have, of course, the national government, you have local government units. Now, I think what we want to see is further digitalization. This speeds up the process, it makes things much quicker, and people can move forward. We want clear rules. So I think, has ARTA or ease of doing business work? There has been progress, and all credit to ARTA in that and what we can do for it. But we can do much more, and we support the view of Senator Gatchalian to actually give more budget to the local government. Let's speed up the process. Let's make it where people don't need to be filing. It can be done digitally, and we can therefore speed up the process, and that can warrant more companies coming in.
We have so much. I have so much to ask you about cybersecurity, but this is the last question I want to ask you before we leave. Renewable energy and digital infrastructure are attracting strong international interest. Where do you see the strongest momentum, and which opportunities are drawing UK participation right now?
Well, renewable energy is clearly there. I think we've also seen on water. I'd like to just also highlight that's the work obviously being done by our British Embassy. We now have Ambassador Sarah Holton here. She took over from Lord Beaufils, and she came in September, and has continued strong momentum. We're also seeing the work of obviously the Department of International Trade in that context, trade and business, I beg your pardon. So I think renewable energy is key, water as well. Infrastructure is obviously a key sector that the British can get into. The other thing I'd just like to highlight is also agriculture. We've just had the trade mission of the Horticultural and Horticultural Development Board, AHDB. This is their 8th mission since 2021. And the Philippines is the #2 most important market in Asia after China for the export of British pork and beef, which is a key help in terms of food inflation. So key sectors is, of course, renewable, but we also have interest in agriculture. We see that progressing, and we see further trade and investment helped by us and, of course, led, of course, by Ambassador Holton with the embassy.
Thank you, Chris, for giving the light of that sector and that side for the Philippine economy and the Philippine-UK relationship.
My pleasure.
Thank you. We're taking a quick break. Please stay with us as we dive deep into the numbers and narratives that matters most to your bottom line. Welcome back. We begin overnight moves in the U.S. and Europe, setting the tone for trading across Asia this morning. Wall Street extended its rally Tuesday as economic data strengthened expectations for a third and likely final Federal Reserve rate cut in December. All three major U.S. indices closed higher, with Dow leading and gains. Trading volume may shrink ahead of the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday Thursday, where markets will be closed, followed by a shortened session Friday. European markets also closed higher, buoyed by the prospect of a Fed rate cut and optimism over a potential ceasefire in Ukraine. Let's check in on Asian markets this morning. PSEI at 6,004.06 with a 0.47% change. All shares at 3,556.97. Financials at 2,021. Industrial index at 8,654.27, while holding firms at 4,726.90, fall a little bit at 0.29%. Property sector 2,174.42, almost flat at 0.35%. Down services 2,412.55 with a slightly up of almost 1% at 0.95. And lastly, mining and oil 13,291. Slightly flat at 0.37%. Total return, PSEI return at 2,600.84 at almost flat. Total volume right now is 136,999,255. As you can see, almost all currently in the green, with Nikkei 225 and Kospi leading the gains. At home, the Philippine Stock Exchange Index, or PSEI, slipped below 6,000 after hitting one-month high of 6,021.59 on Monday. Investors took profits and reacted to S&P's downgraded 2025 growth forecast. The PSEI closed yesterday at 5,976.17 on a value turnover of 9.5 billion pesos. On the currency front, the peso opened at 58.83 to the dollar, slightly stronger than its previous close of 58.91. Business tycoon Manny V. Pangilinan is calling for national unity amid political tension after former Representative Zaldy Co. accused President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., former House Speaker Martin Romualdez, and House Majority Leader Sandro Marcos of misusing project funds. MVP expressed support for the president's anti-corruption initiatives, stressing that business leaders prioritize stability, continuity, and sustained economic growth. Following his earlier claims against Marcos and Romualdez, Co yesterday accused Sandro Marcos. He alleged illegal budget insertions totaling 50.9 billion pesos over 3 years, 9.6 billion pesos in 2023, 20.1 billion pesos in 2024, and 21.1 billion pesos in 2025. Sandro Marcos denied the allegation, saying Co wants to bring down the current administration so he can be absolved of his crimes. Donald Lim Well, as 78th President of the Management Association of Philippines in 2026, Lim is President of DITO CME Holdings Corporation and Lieutenant Colonel in the Philippine Air Force Reserve. He founded Blockchain Council, the Cybersecurity Council, and the Global Artificial Intelligence Council Philippines, shaping the country's digital economy. Lim has taught at top universities, authored books on cybersecurity, blockchain, and artificial intelligence, and earned awards including 10,000 Young Men and Agora Awards. For news overseas, a rarely seen Renoir painting of his young son and family's nursemaid sold for $1.68 million at a Paris auction. The 1895 work, gifted to his only student, Jean Baudot, had stayed in her family for a generation. Auctioneers called it a masterpiece of intimacy, capturing a tender moment between Jean Renoir and Gabrielle Renard, one of the artist's favorite models. Including fees, the final price could top $2 million. And that's it for Business 360. I'm China Barachina. Thank you for joining us. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.